fellow makeup lovers, how are you guys doing today? I am so excited for this video because we are digging through so many of my eyeshadow palettes and swatching out all of the true silver shades. I love a good super duper uber metallic sparkly silver shadow, and I just want to look through all the palettes I have and determine the best of the best silvers, and we have lots of options. I did film a similar video with my red shimmer shadows in case you're wanting to see some more swatchy content, but today it is all about silvers and we are focusing on shades in eyeshadow palettes. I do plan on doing a single shadow version of this, but I wanted to start off with my eyeshadow palettes because I'm very familiar with them, and it's kind of funny because when I was going through looking for red shadows, I was really trying to remember which palettes had a red, but when it came to silvers, I was like, oh, I remember this one, I remember that one, I remember this one. I'm like, I know my silvers, so I am just so excited to compare, and hopefully we can kind of put a list together of the top silvers in the entire collection that we've got going on here. I probably have, what, I'm looking around, probably like 25 palettes or something like that to go through. So let's start swatching. I am going to go by brand just to make this a little bit easier and make doing my description box a little less chaotic. So we're going to start off with my eyeshadow palette with Adept because I did create a silver, hoping that it would, fingers crossed, be one of the best in y'all's collection if you did decide to purchase this palette. So that is going to be the shade Stunning. This is a super metallic creamy silver. It doesn't really have sparkles to it. It is just extremely shiny. So there's what Stunning looks like. You can see it is just beautiful. Then from the Minka palette from Adept, we also have a silver in here. I wanted to compare the shade Minka because I feel like this is a really pretty silver, but it's not quite as cool toned, but I felt like it was still worth mentioning, and it is a very thick, sparkly texture. We also have the shade Ava, this one right here, but I feel like that's a little bit more gunmetal. So there is Minka. See, sometimes you think something is silver and then you swatch it next to a true silver shadow and you're like, actually, no, that's not. I think what I'm going to do is as I go through, I'm going to take the palettes like this one, for example, where I have a silver that I think is really, really good. And I'm going to put that to the side so that we can swatch them together at the end and see the best of the best. Next, I do have a few different palettes here from Natasha Denona that has a silver in it. So from the mini Xenon palette, this is what it is, right? Correct. Yes. We have a really stunning, super metallic, creamy silver. This is a really good one for like being such a little mini. Super cute. I would say it's very similar to Stunning, but maybe just a little bit less intense, less metallic, but still a really, really nice one. Okay. Possibly putting that to the side. We also have the Xenon palette, and in here we do have a few different options of like a lighter baby silver. Who am I? What am I even talking about? But the main silver I really wanted to swatch was Super Ionic here because this is a really pretty silver. It's kind of messed up a little bit. I don't know what happened to the pan, but there's what Super Ionic looks like. Okay, see, that one's just a little bit lighter and brighter and slightly less intense than the Xenon silver. An oldie but a goodie. I think this is the blue purple palette. That's what it was called, from Natasha Denona. I got this in a Beautylish Lucky Bag forever ago, but we have a really stunning silver in here. This one is more of a traditional powder shadow formula. It doesn't feel as creamy to the touch. Alrighty. Oh, but that's gorgeous. Wow. Okay, that's crazy though. For as old as it is, that looks even better than the both Xenons. The mini Xenon, the full Xenon. That is just, that's why these were so hyped. Like, you know what? This is crazy, crazy expensive, but it still looks amazing. I'm gonna keep that one to the side, and Mini Xenon has been dethroned. Next, we have a bunch of options here from Odins Eye, and almost all of their silver shadows are in their holiday palettes, which I thought was kind of funny and worth noting. And then we also have their big palette that they came out with this year that has the half warm, half cool color story. So let's just do this one first. It's going to be this shade right here called Burnout. Very creamy, kind of soft metallic. Okay, that one is almost getting a little bit more on like the white silver side. It's pretty, it is pretty, but it's not enough to compare to the best of the best. And then we have Hey Reindeer, and oh lordy, I think I was gonna do the shade Belle. I'm like looking back at this, what did I think was silver? But you know what, I feel like that again looks more gunmetal swatched out. Okay, actually I'm gonna skip this one. Sometimes that happens. I'm looking through things not with all of this lighting and I'm just going quickly and I think something looks a different color than it actually looks. And then let's see, in this palette we have the shade Frankincense, which I wanted to mention. It's a super creamy silver, but it's an interesting shade because this is more of a holochrome, so it's a silver with a rainbow throughout it. Okay. Oh my gosh, that does look really, really beautiful, doesn't it? I feel like, I don't know if you guys can see, like so sparkly. Wow, I really like that one. That's a hidden gem. And then we have the Christmas Eve palette, and in here we have the shade Snowflake, which looks like more of a traditional sparkly silver. That one has a little bit less gray tones to it. Next we have some options from Sydney Grace from the Quintessential palette. Quintessential, I'm like thinking about Pookie apparently. Sorry. This is the shade Serious Starlight. Okay, but that one does have like this like brown kind of undertone to it. From the Enduring Love palette, I had to mention this because we have a silver in here, this shade right here, and it is a warmer silver, kind of similar to Caramel in my eyeshadow palette, and this is my original palette that made me fall in love with cool tones, and this was the first shade that got me into silver shadows and wearing them, you know, all the time, even though it is kind of like a silvery gold. So it is a little something different. And then we also have John, but again, I feel like that's more of a gunmetal, but that is a nicer cool tone option. So I feel like this is not, it's not the same. I don't think I'm gonna swatch it together because it is not really that silver, but I felt like it was due an honorable mention in this video. It was my gateway to silver. And then we have the Love's Journey palette, and I thought either Captivating or Only You, probably Captivating looks a little bit lighter, but these are also more like gunmetal-y versus like that true silver shadow. Huh. Okay, so I'm not adding any from the Sydney Grace pile into the finalists. Next, from Fantasy Cosmetica, I specifically wanted to mention the silver in the Enchanted Autumn palette. I know this is about to be a finalist because it is stunning. The shade Libra, it is more of a blue-based silver, but it is so intense, so pretty. This was their collaboration with Makeup Just for Fun, super sparkly as well. And then I did want to mention the Fighter palette because I feel like when you're looking at this palette, it looks like there's a silver because of the shade Blade. And it is kind of a silver, but it also has more of like a bluey gray shade to it. So I wanted to swatch it in comparison just to show you. We're running out of room on this arm, so I'm about to wipe these off. But there's what Blade looks like. So that is our first round of silver shadows. You guys will have to let me know if you agree with my favorites or if there's different ones that you would have kept for the finals as we go on, but I'm gonna put Fighters up and I'm gonna keep Enchanted Autumn out. Next, we've got some palettes from ColourPop. We've got Blow and Smoke, which is their very grayscale palette. And from in here, we have the shade Starstruck, which this is a really pretty silver and one of the nicer shimmers from ColourPop. I'm gonna do some swatches on my hand just to give my arm a chance to chill out for a second. I feel like that is still such a good silver, and it is one of the most affordable options that we've talked about thus far. So I feel like it's definitely worth keeping out. I think it's such a pretty, just creamy metallic shade. And then from the Stone Cold Fox palette, it looks like my cat was chewing on this corner here. Go figure. But we have the shade Magnetic Moon. And see, this one is not as creamy or metallic, and it's like just a little bit more subtle than Oh, I don't know if that's focused. Oh, I feel like I got a bruise on my hand right there. It hurts. This one's more subtle than blowing smoke. So, it's okay. Now we are jumping into palettes where I only have one from each brand. We've got the Ace Beaute Paradise Fallen, and in this palette we've got the shade Moon Glow. These are on like super sale on the Ace Beaute website. I was creeping because I feel like they have not done anything new in a while. See, that's like one of those, like, it's just like a white silver. It looks very satiny, very basic, just not giving. Another really beautiful silver is in the new Galactic Visitor palette from Singe Beauty. This shade Milky Way is a silver with just the really pretty like rainbow sparkle throughout it. It's gorgeous, honestly. So there's what Milky Way looks like. I feel like it's another really nice silver that's a little bit more unique because it has the shifts in it, but it's not too much. It's not making it into a different color, if you know what I mean. So I kind of want to keep that in the finals too. From Blend Bunny All Done Up, we have the shade Accentuate, another true silver. It's got a pretty shiny finish. See, I like that one too, but it's not necessarily standing out. It's good. It is good. It looks beautiful. Like, I need to be more picky. I've got so many that I'm obsessed with right now. From Cold Moon, we also have a really pretty silver, this shade right here called Wolf Moon. It's just a really nice metallic sparkly finish. And then we also have this one, but that shade is a little bit more gray and just like not as bright silver as what I'm looking for. So there is Wolf Moon. I mean, that one definitely is a keeper. Ooh, okay, I'm so excited to compare these because this was my favorite silver for a long time. The Eternal Eclipse palette from Lunar Beauty. This shade right here, Adamantium. But it's been a while since I dug back into this one, so I'm like, how does it compare? I don't know. Oh, but it's still gorgeous. I mean, okay. This direction. From Beaute Bar, we do have the Vamp palette, and we have this shade here that looks kind of silver, but again, it's a multi-chrome, and it actually has a really strong green flip, so I really don't think that's the vibe. And then we have Daylight Rings, but this has a strong kind of purpley blue undertone. I'll swatch it. It is a really, let me see, it is a really pretty color and formula. I mean, it looks stunning, but it's just much more purpley. I don't know if you can tell, than all the other silvers, but it does look really, really nice. I feel like it's more of an icy lavender than a silver. I have the Creamy palette from Huda Beauty simply because I forgot to return it. This is the shade Greige Creamy Obsessions. I really, really hated the formula of the cream shadows in here. They did not last whatsoever on my eyes. I feel like this was such a waste of money, but we have a silver shadow in here, so it's like we may as well compare it, even though I think that we're going to be really disappointed swatching this next to all these indie shades. It's about to look, it's gonna look like a dud, let's be real. Yeah, and it doesn't even look that silvery. Okay, anyways. From Unearthly Cosmetics, we have the Dreamer palette. This is such a cute one. And we have a shade here called Dream State, which is a really pretty silver. Oh, it's kind of similar vibes where it's another silver that has more of a rainbow sparkle throughout it. Okay, I'm gonna put that right here. Okay, that's really pretty too. I'm like trying to compare it to the Galactic Visitor, like which one do I keep? But I really like both. Okay, so from Melt Cosmetics, I think this is kind of funny because I just had to share. I bought the Mary Jane palette because I was hoping for it to be like the cool tone palette of my dreams. But realistically, when you look at this, it's actually not that cool of a palette. It doesn't even have a true silver shade in here. You've actually got quite a bit of warmth. So that was not what I wanted it to be. But we do have a true silver in the Millennial Pink palette. That's going to be this shade Moon Glow. And I'm actually not the biggest fan. Like, let me dig in because like it's not coming up that much. Not the biggest fan of Melt's shimmers. Normally they're pretty chunky. This one is just a very, very soft satin. From Kaleidos, I cannot remember what this palette is called, and the fact that the names are not on this packaging drives me bonkers, but we have a really, really stunning silver in here. Super creamy. But it's a little bit more gunmetal-y. Definitely a really pretty formula, but yeah, not quite as silvery silver as I need it to be. We have the Glamlight Ghost Face palette, and we do have multiple silver-ish shades in here. So we've got this Mirror Gleam, which is like a silver with a green base. We've got Vengeful Spirit, which is more of like that like muddy silver type shade. So I think just Midnight Robe is the one I'm gonna swatch. Again, not as bright. I almost forgot we also have a Silver Any Coca-Cola palette. I just did not remember, but it is actually prettier to me than the Ghost Face palette silver, but not necessarily standing out. Another womp womp womp. We have the Urban Decay Naked Smoky palette, and I would say the most like silvery shades we have in here are Armor and Slanted. I just had to compare this because I feel like it's such a mainstream palette everyone knows about. Just in comparison with these indie shadows, I mean, what is the point of having a smoky palette and you don't even have, what is the point of having a smoky palette and you don't even have a good silver? Like, why? Last but not least, we have the Beauty Bay Smoky palette, and this is the 16 pan version. They have multiple sizes, and this does have a few different silver options in here. I think those two are the most of what we're looking for. Okay. So again, pretty kind of soft vibes. Those are all of our second round of swatches. I'm gonna wipe these off and we can dig into the finalist. Okay, we have got 9 different palettes here. I think I'm gonna organize these a little bit into very metallic, into the like holographic rainbow, and sparkly. So starting off with the rainbow silver shades, we have Odins Eye, Singe Beauty, and Unearthly. Odins Eye, I think I might have picked up too much. Singe Beauty, and Unearthly. I zoomed you guys in a little bit just so you can see the sparkles a little bit better. I feel like the Odins Eye looks the most true silver. The Singe has a tiny bit more of a gold kind of shift going on just in comparison next to these two. And the Unearthly has a little bit more of a pinkiness going on. They're all gorgeous for a silver that's different. For our top sparkly silvers, we have got Enchanted Autumn, Eternal Eclipse, Cold Moon, okay, Fantasy Cosmetica, Lunar Beauty, and Ensley Reign. I mean, all of those look so pretty. I feel like the Fantasy has more blue. Ensley Reign is the sparkliest, I will say. So if you're looking for the most sparkly silver you can find, that one is just very, very, very sparkly. But I mean, you can't go wrong with any of these. And then for the top metallic shades, I'm like actually so proud of ColourPop for being here. Blown Smoke, my palette, and Natasha Denona Blue Purple. Okay, ColourPop. So smooth. Adept, and Natasha Denona. The ColourPop and the Natasha Denona feel more like traditional shadows. Natasha Denona is a little bit drier, but like I said, it is very old, and the ColourPop's a little bit softer, and then the Adept palette is so creamy to the touch in comparison, and just uber metallic. I don't know. Am I biased? I still feel like Stunning is just doing its thing. I definitely have silver sparkles all over me now, but that's okay. I really, really enjoyed filming this video. I feel like it's almost one of those where I'm like, well, however it does, it does. It's fine because I had so much fun filming it, and I feel like I know my collection just a little bit better now after really comparing all of these silver shadows side by side. I would love to know what your favorite silver shadow is, if you own any of my favorites, if you would agree, or if there was something that really stood out to you that I missed. Definitely let me know. I would love to have a conversation with you, and I will see you tomorrow for another day of Indiemas. Bye.